The valley sounded like a forge, iron on iron, feet on dirt, one long roar that swallowed orders. Israel's line bent, then buckled. The Philistines pressed hard, shields ramming shields, spearheads finding ribs. By sundown, the field was a wreck, bodies, broken shafts, smashed bucklers, and 4,000 Israelites lay still in the dust. Survivors limped back to camp with grit and copper in their mouths, and one question they were afraid to say out loud: why had the Lord let them be struck down? That night the elders gathered around low fires, smoke in their eyes and defeat in their bones. No one spoke of sin or judgment. Someone finally said what the rest wanted to hear. Let us bring the ark of the covenant of the Lord from Shiloh, that it may save us. The ark, the gold-covered chest with the mercy seat and the outstretched wings, had gone before their fathers in the wilderness. It had stood when the Jordan parted and when Jericho's walls fell. They treated memory like a promise carried on poles. At the tabernacle, the ark was turned over to Hophni and Phinehas, sons of Eli the high priest. Everyone knew their reputation, priests who took what they wanted from sacrifices and from people, but desperation closed mouths. When the ark reached the camp, the shout shook the ground. The sound rolled across the valley, and Philistine scouts heard it. "What is this great shouting in the Hebrews' camp?" ran the word. When the answer came, "The ark of the Lord has come," fear moved through the Philistine lines. "Woe to us," men said. "A god has come into their camp. These are the gods who struck Egypt. Who can stand before them?" Their captains cut the panic off. Be men, fight, or become slaves. Morning broke over dust and trampled grass. Israel took the field with the ark at the center, confidence returning. The Philistines advanced in steady ranks. When the lines met, the collision was louder than the shouting. Israel expected the sight of the ark to break the enemy. It didn't. The Philistines kept coming. Spears slipped under rims of shields. Axes bit leather. The left folded, then the center tore, and panic outran every command. 30,000 men fell. Hophni and Phinehas died where they stood. Hands closed on the poles of the ark, and the holiest object Israel owned was hauled away. A runner in torn clothes left the field at a dead run. He reached Shiloh at evening and found Eli sitting by the road, listening. The old man was 98, nearly blind, heavy with years. "How did it go, my son?" he asked. The tale spilled out, the rout, the dead, his sons. Eli swayed, but held. Then came the last line. "The ark of God has been captured." He gasped, pitched backward from his seat, and broke his neck in the fall. After 40 years of judging Israel, he died at the news. Inside Eli's house, another cry broke out. Phinehas's wife, pregnant and near term, heard the report and went into hard labor. She delivered a son and was dying even as they told her he lived. She named the child Ichabod. The glory has departed. Because the ark was gone, and then she was gone too. In one day, the house of Eli fell, the army shattered, the symbol of God's presence stripped away. The Philistines carried the ark west to Ashdod and set it inside the temple of Dagon. They had proof in wood and gold that they had beaten Israel's God. Morning wiped the smiles off faces. Dagon's idol lay face down before the ark. Priests hauled it upright, muttering. The next dawn, it was down again, this time broken, head and hands cut off on the threshold, the stump alone on the base. Then the city's trouble began. Tumors broke out on the people of Ashdod. Panic spread with the pain. "The ark of the God of Israel must not remain with us," leaders said. "His hand is hard against us and against Dagon." They moved it to Gath. Gath cried out in turn. The same sickness rolled through its streets. They sent it to Ekron, but Ekron would not have it. They have brought the ark of the God of Israel to kill us and our people. Wherever the ark stood, fear and death followed. 7 months of this ground the Philistines down to honesty. They called their priests and diviners. How shall we send it back? The answer set pride aside for survival. Do not send it empty. Make images of the tumors and the mice that ravage the land, one for each lord of the Philistines, and give glory to the God of Israel. Build a new cart. Take 2 cows that have never been yoked. Pen their calves. If the cows go straight toward Israel, it is his hand. If not, the plague is chance. They hitched the cows, set the ark and the gold offerings on the cart, and watched. The animals lowed and walked the road toward the border without turning aside, as if a rope pulled them none could see. Men of Beth Shemesh were harvesting in the valley when they looked up and saw the cart. They shouted and left their sickles in the sheaves. The ark had come home not by strength of arms, but by surrender on the other side. The return did not erase the lesson. Some men in Beth Shemesh treated the ark like a curiosity, peering where they had no right, and were struck down, and the town begged that it be taken away to another place. Holiness had not changed in the months it spent in Philistine hands. The next stop would be Kiriath-Jearim, where the ark would rest in the house of Abinadab under the care of Eleazar until a king would bring it up in a new day. But the moral is as plain as the bills of the dead. Israel had tried to use the ark as a tool, as if the presence of God could be bundled and deployed. The Philistines treated it like a trophy, as if owning the symbol meant owning the power. Both were wrong. Israel's camp shouted itself hoarse at the sight of it, and still died by the thousands. The Philistines paraded it into a temple and watched their god fall flat on his face. When they passed it from one city to the next, the only thing that traveled reliably was fear. The story also marks a turn in Israel's life. The fall of Eli's house, the birth of Ichabod, and the silence at Shiloh opened a corridor toward kingship. Samuel, still a boy in the early chapters, would judge Israel in the years after and call the people to return to the Lord with all their hearts. The ark's capture hangs at the front of that call like a warning sign. Symbols cannot stand in for obedience. The covenant is not a banner you wave to frighten enemies. It is a life you live under a holy God. Stand in the scene one more time at the moment of the second battle. The ark gleams in the morning light. Israel's ranks lean forward with fresh courage because the box is there. But courage built on an object breaks fast. The ground shakes, the line goes soft, and then it tears. A priest falls, a second falls, hands close on the poles of the ark and pull. Across the valley, a trumpet sounds for Philistine men to close in, and they do. News runs faster than horses. It reaches a man who has sat by the road all day, blind eyes on nothing and a heart fixed on one thing. It reaches a woman who names her son with a word that tastes like ash. It reaches the halls of a foreign temple where a statue cannot stand upright in the presence of what it cannot understand. It reaches the leaders of 5 cities who trade a chest like a hot iron and finally admit what the pain has said for months: send it back. The ark goes home the way a truth goes home, without needing anyone to carry it. Cows walk a straight line over a ridge and down a valley, lowing for calves they cannot reach, and the road they take writes a sentence across the map. The God of Israel is not a prize of war. He is not contained, not managed, not bent to fear or to pride. He will not be mocked by his people or mastered by his enemies. He goes where he wills, and both sides learn it the hard way. Thank you for listening to Divine Crime. Subscribe for more true stories from the most dangerous book ever written.